I mean, this is not fake, by the way, in the background for everyone watching. So, I'm hearing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This is probably by far and away the most gorgeous background you're ever going to see on Moneyball or Spittin' Seeds. And this is your boy D Money. I am on location here. I am absolutely blessed to be in Marathon, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ron Bernick, owner of Hot Corner Baseball, which is headquartered in Lockport, New York. This guy has worked with so many pros, semi-pros. What they're doing over at this establishment is second to none. So I was very excited to have the opportunity to interview you. And what's up, man? Talk to me. How you doing today?
I'm good. We're getting ready. There's a high school game tonight we're going to head out to. There's a big rivalry game up in Niagara Falls we're going to go to and try to go see some of our guys play and just honestly be there for them and show some face and getting ready to finish up my day down here just before I head up there. So
anyone who doesn't know what Hot Corner Athletics is, let's hear it. Tell us. But right from the genesis, tell me a little bit about it, where it's going and what it's doing for young athletes.
Yeah, so we wanted to create a all-encompassing developmental plan for any kid that was from 5 years old, kind of just entering the game all the way through the major leagues. And we've been super fortunate to have kids at every step in that process. So our biggest thing was like, I don't want there to be a stone unturned. I don't want, money to be a factor. We're willing to invest whatever we need to provide a really good experience for kids. And I know we're going to get deeper into that. But our thing with where we're at currently is we have 15 people on staff right now. We're constantly adding more. Everybody is specialized in their certain field. I don't have a guy who was a college hitter that's teaching pitching. Everybody is specialized in what they do. And our goal long-term is to grow this not only in your physical locations around the country, literally around the country, but being able to just provide people an opportunity with where they're at. Some people can physically get here, some people can't.
Right.
And I think, we don't want to limit our ability to reach kids at the masses, but, and we'll talk about like our values and things like that. Like we don't want to lose in the quality. So what you've noticed about us is that we've gone a lot slower than we could have because every single step that we take, there's a detail behind it. And I want to make sure that whatever we put out there has the same exact quality if you were standing with me right now.
There is other baseball clinics, coaches, things of that nature, but I think you nailed it head on when you said, we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And there's two ways, or probably more than two ways here, right? But there's the clinics that open up purely for financial reasons. And we all have to make a living. We all have to survive. So I certainly understand that that's an element, but it shouldn't be the only element, right? Because a lot of your stuff seems to be integrity based. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So when it started, when we first opened in 2016, it was just like every other facility. It was, I'm going to do private training. I'm still going to create a good high quality, but I didn't really know how it was going to evolve. And then it was like, my partner, Sam, who is really heavy on the strength and conditioning side of things. We wanted to provide sports performance and not even just strength and conditioning, but it was like exactly what those kids need when they want to enter into the strength world. Right.
Yeah.
So it just continues to evolve. And then now where I'm at is I have a really high passion for coaching coaches and developing mindset because I can only work with so many kids and I realize that I'm limited there. So if I can go and train some really good coaches to do a great job that care about kids and it's under our umbrella and our system, we're going to impact the masses. And so everything with what we're doing is how are these 99% of all kids we're going to train are never going to play and get paid to play this game.
Right.
What experience are they getting while they're playing the game? I've said that a million times because I really believe that.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you have to be able to get something out of it. The majority of my conversations with kids in season have nothing to do with their swing. It has nothing to do with how they're pitching. It has to do with how they feel when they show up to the park.
Wow.
Do you have the confidence in yourself that you're going to be able to produce for your team? And I've had that conversation with our staff too. Like there are going to be times that I'm going to fall short. And I know that. I'm not trying to. That's part of life. Like
you're human. You're not perfect.
I might have been up all night with my newborn. I might have not slept well. I may have showed up late because my son or daughter got hurt. Is somebody going to be able to pick up the pieces for me when I'm not able to be there?
Sure.
That's where we hit heavy But then on top of that too, like we in-service our staff and we learn about what's big in the game. And, all of our guys are so interested in becoming better versions of themselves. So now we can be that for the kids.
So it's actually, everyone's learning themselves too, right? You don't have anybody who's, 40, 50, 60 years old. Not that the age would matter, but I'm saying that's already so set in their ways that they feel like nobody can tell them nothing, right? Like the Kanye West song, you can't tell me nothing. There's a lot of people in the coaching world, and I don't care if it's baseball, hockey, football, whatever it is, that are just so cemented in their ways and that their way or the highway, man, that it doesn't matter. Right now, a good coach, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, is always open to new ideas, some fresh ideas. Even if you might not necessarily agree with it at first, you'll listen to it, you'll entertain it, and you might not go with it, but you'll at least listen to it. What do you think the number one mistake is of dads who are coaching their kids? So normal guys who are coaching their kids, what do you think the number one mistake they're making is?
I think it's putting a success orientation to what their kid's doing. For example, a kid throws a fastball down the middle and he said, "Why didn't he swing?" Or a kid goes 1 for 4 and he says, "Well, why didn't you get a hit on that one?" And it's like, I think a lot of it, it's not the parents' fault. There's a lot of parents, like I deal with this a lot, where a dad played college basketball.
Sometimes it's the parents' fault.
Well,
right?
yeah, I would say, to be honest with you, I think a lot of my conversation with a high school kid is navigating the relationship with mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so we get hit with a lot of this with high school kids is we don't allow, when you hit 13, we really don't allow parents in our field house. And there's a reason for it. It's not that I don't want them there. I still want a relationship with them. I also need to be able to teach the kid how to handle the relationship with mom and dad.
Yeah.
The last thing that I want is for this sport to be the reason why you don't have a relationship with your parents when you get older.
I love, yeah, dude. Listen, this is all music to my ears.
Yeah.
And by the way, I heard you say you had a newborn. Congratulations. What, do you have a boy or a girl?
I got 3 now. I got a boy, a girl, and a boy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So it's twofold. So the first one is, what is travel baseball and why? So the reason why we don't have travel teams is because I can help a kid get recruited regardless of who they play for. There's 1,000 different ways to get recruited now. It's a relationship game. Like I have a lot of relationships in the college game. So for me, coaches will call me and ask me information about a kid. I've never coached him on the field one time.
Okay.
So what is travel baseball? Travel baseball is an opportunity for kids to play. But does that mean that they have to lock themselves into 5 tournaments and go with that team? But is that what's best for the kid? I don't know the answer. I think in some cases it is. I do. I think in some cases for a kid that's going to play locally at either a junior college or Division 2 or 3 level, you know what? You don't really have to travel. I think it probably makes a lot more sense for you to stay home because that school's going to see you more often. But if you have a kid who's a freshman that can really play, like we are hurting him by keeping him home. We're hurting that kid. There is no reason why he should stay here. And if he ends up coming to school at this play in Buffalo, then he went out there and he had experiences that I cannot provide him here. So I think we have to look at each individual kid as its own case. I don't think, this is where I get a lot of heat for this. I think that we don't look at each individual kid as its own case. I think we look at our organizations as a whole and say what's going to be best for our organization, which is the exact reason why I don't have a travel program.
Okay.
I think the second side of that is, and this is where I'd like to say that I'm hopefully one of the leaders in the coaching space here, but I don't think a lot of coaches are working together enough. I don't think there's enough of a round table where we're all basically putting our hands together and saying, we're in a small city. Every single kid matters. I don't care if they just started playing baseball at 12 years old. I don't care if they started when they were 3, like my son did. Every kid matters and every kid's experience matters. And the only thing that we can do as a coaching unit is to provide that for them wherever they're at. I think that's really where I think we as an industry are failing kids, is that there's always either an ego attached to it or there is a financial side of it attached to it. And the hard part, and I will tell you, I had to learn this the hard way. When I got out of college and I am not from Buffalo and I was the kind of person that was like, I'm going to change the game. I went into it the wrong way. I went into it with an ego. I went into it saying I was better than other people. Yep. Now looking back, I realized you know what? Every single organization is just trying to help kids. The way that they might be going about it might be different than I would per se, but they're not wrong. They're still trying to help people. And I think once we figure out as a city, what each individual coach is really good at, then we can hammer that. But for me, it's always been about, I just want to provide a good experience. If somebody decides to pay me for that service, great. But I'll tell you right now, if a kid sends me a message on Instagram, I'm not going to ask him for $100.
Right.
I'm going to detail his swing like he asked me to, because I want to help that kid. You know, so I think that's where I think ego is a huge part of our game. Every single coach goes through it and learns from it. But it's the guys that can get on the other side and really figure out what the long-term development plan is for each kid. That's where I think we can help them. So the second side of that is, what is the end goal? Is the end goal a scholarship? You're probably in this for the wrong reason.
Okay.
Because the scholarship is a byproduct of the work that they do from the time that they start playing until it happens. You know, so when we talk about mental performance, which is a massive part of our philosophy here,
Absolutely,
it's what are they learning from the time that they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we implemented the American development model from USA Baseball. It's free. Go on their site. You can find it if you're a coach. If a kid's 7 years old, do not teach them about mechanics. They don't need to have mechanics. Who cares where their elbow starts? They need to want to show up at 8 years old.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Period. So have fun and teach them something, but teach them more about life and responsibility and tucking their shirt in and putting their hat on straight.
Wow.
And showing up to practice on time.
Yeah.
And they're going to learn so many more values about being a human being. That's why I love sports. Like, this is a goosebump moment for me, right? Because if we can take a 6 and 7 year old kid and they can show up the next year and they had a blast and they love you as a coach, you are going to provide the most amazing experience for them by the time they're 15. Then we can hammer out, hey, let's get in the weight room. Hey, let's really start to focus on the swing. How hard are you hitting the ball? Let's evaluate you. Let's make sure you're doing the right things. But if we don't even get to 15, what did we do? We did something wrong.
There's a lot of parents. This is all music to my ears, and you and I share the same sentiment. There's a lot of parents who are kind of forcing their kids to play ball, right, and living vicariously through them. I call them glory days parents. After the Bruce Springsteen song. You know, you hit on a couple things that you said really resonated with me. Number one, what are we playing for? Is it a scholarship? So a scholarship, in my opinion, if any 3 of my boys got a scholarship, they made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you made it. If you're going to be playing ball in college and getting an education on the house from Vanderbilt or Georgia, you made it, right? And then some. And then you have an opportunity. But like you said, the 98 percenters or maybe 99, maybe 99 in Buffalo, maybe 97 in the rest of the country. But, you know, those kids, they just need to have fun, play ball, learn other things. And I'm a true believer, too, in playing other sports, you know, and not letting one sport manipulate your child. I have, you know, my oldest son who can go out and he can ball. And I have my 8-year-old who says he loves the game, but, you know, he's having a hard time catching a baseball, right? So as a dad, the ego comes, right? Like, oh, I was a good athlete, whatever. Why can't my kid catch a ball? And that's what I think you see in daddy ball a lot of the time, right? Is they're almost offended, right? I mean, like, lack of a better word, but they're almost, it's not even disappointed. They're almost like offended. Like, how can this kid not be good? I was a great athlete. That's where the egos need to just be thrown out the door, man. And everything you're saying, I completely agree with. We need more coaches getting together on a high-end level saying, let's combine all of our strengths. It's like a super group, right? Let's call it Audio Slave, right? You got a guy from Pearl Jam. You got Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. You get all these top coaches in the area and you form, again, money aside, you know, and maybe it's handpicked, or I don't know how you'd end up doing it, but it would be brilliant.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I want what's best for all these guys, you know, but I also want what's best for the 5-year-old kid that's playing T-ball for the first time, who's really scared because it's a new environment for him. And if I treat that 5-year-old the same way as I treat Joe Mack, that 5-year-old might become Joe Mack one day.
100%. And one thing I always tell my son, who has his favorites, right? He loves Ronald Acuna, and he says, man, I wish I could be like Ronald Acuna. And I say, no, you got the wrong idea. You want to be the first Deacon Scott. You know, That's always what I tell these kids is I want to be just like, you know, he plays hockey. I want to be Connor Bedard. No, you don't. You want to be the first Deacon Scott. And, you know, and I love that. How can people get in contact with you? How can they get a hold of Hot Corner? You know, say, man, I love everything this guy's saying. He's speaking my language. What can we do to, you know, get our kids involved with Hot Corner Athletics?
Yeah, so we have, I mean, in the summertime for the younger kids, we do camps. Our website, hotcornerathletics.com, has pretty much all the information you'll need to know. It's a lot more simplified than it used to be, so it's pretty easy to navigate. You know, we have, you know, address online that you can see our phone number and everything like that. And then social media wise, we're just Hot Corner Athletics across the board. I'm Ronnie Bernick on all platforms. I'm super active on Instagram for sure, and then Facebook, obviously, because of parents. But yeah, that's how you get a hold of us. But we do a lot of community events too. We have a nonprofit We're actually partnering with Leveling the Playing Field to do equipment donations to kids all over Western New York. We've done 4 of them at this point. We've given enough equipment away to over 750 kids to play for free. So
and thank you
our
for
goal, yeah, but that's why we do it, right? Like we do it. Like I have 3 kids I have to feed. I understand that, but there's also thousands of kids that can't afford to play. So I try to hit both ends of the spectrum.
What is your take on current, I guess, state of baseball and the different leagues that they're in?
Well, I think what Major League Baseball is doing a great job of is providing opportunity outside of affiliate baseball, because it's so hard to get into it now. And they're cutting even more now down to how many guys are going to be able to play in the minor league. So it's hard. It's really, really hard. And so outside of that, though, what they're doing is they're putting a lot of money into these independent leagues. And we have a kid right now who is the home run record holder at Niagara, who's playing in the Frontier League. We just had another kid get drafted in the Frontier League last week.
Awesome.
Are they ever going to play affiliate pro ball? I hope so. I just don't know. I don't know. So for them, they at least have a chance to go play. A kid I played with at Canisius, who was drafted by the Blue Jays, is playing in Mexico right now.
Okay.
And if you love the game enough, make him strip it off your back. But there's always opportunities to play somewhere. There's your men's leagues, but then you also have your independent leagues. Again, it's not gonna make you money. This game doesn't make you money until you reach the big leagues.
Yep.
So if you love the game, go have fun somewhere, and there's an opportunity for you. But even with summer collegiate, like I feel like where a lot of people don't understand is that when your kid leaves to go to school, like as a freshman, you'd be lucky to get them back for 4 years. Like in the summertime, they might not come home. There's a shot they go host somewhere and they play summer league, and that's the reality of it too. But that's why I always say let's create the foundation of enjoying the game right now, because once you hit 18 years old, I mean, those are the best times of my life. I mean, I hosted in Amsterdam, New York, and played with kids all over the country. Canisius, I played there, and we had 22 Canadians on our team, out of 35 guys. Like that's really where it's all made. You develop lifelong friendships. That's what the game's about. You know what I mean? And if you happen to get drafted, it continues. But if you don't, you still have a chance to go play somewhere else and meet new people.
Do you believe in if you're a good enough player, someone's going to find you?
I think in the majority of the country, yeah. I think the challenge here is it's very hard to get to. I went through it. I was very lucky to go through it with both Charlie and Joe Mack. They really, and they would say this, they don't really want to come here. It's hard to get here. They fly into Buffalo. They got a 35-minute drive anywhere, and so I think part of it is really understand what your goals are, really understand what you want. And really, if you think about it over the last, since Jonah got drafted in 2013, I believe.
13, yeah.
Yeah. If you're looking back that far in the last 11 years, how many guys have gotten drafted out of Buffalo, New York that are from Buffalo, New York? I mean, you're looking at 3,
right.
4.
Listen, this was great. I cannot thank you enough, middle of the day, taking some of your time, and a lot of the stuff I truly, truly agree with what you're saying. And a lot of this, there were some new things that I learned. Thank you for all you're doing, with baseball and the development. So thanks again.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
What's up, everybody? I wanted to take a minute and I wanted to thank all of my sponsors who are making the Moneyball channel a huge success. I could not be more happy with the support that I'm receiving. Up above me are a few names who have been key to keeping this carousel moving, right? Tomasello Automotive, Buffalo Go, Big D Tire, Elmo's has been massive in their support of the Moneyball channel. Impulse Physical Therapy, Next Level Nutrition, making amazing nutrition shakes. We have Shaman up on the reservation. It's your smoke shop for anything you need. Just been absolutely vital to keeping Moneyball going, keeping the success, and continuing to just raise the bar here. So I just wanted to give a special shout out to everyone who has been helping. And thank you most of all to the fans who have been incredible and just, supporting me with emails, texts, calls saying, hey man, keep it up. Don't give up on it. We know it's your dream. You're good at it. Thank you. It's good to hear once in a while. So thank you very much to everyone. I sincerely mean that from the bottom of my heart. And we are just going to keep on striving. We're going to keep on going, man. Moneyball. Thank you.